Hi Jake, good to see you again.
And you, how's things?
Yeah, well good. I was hoping you might be able to tell me a bit about the standout features on the Gen 3 car.
The capability of what these cars have nowadays compared to even the Gen 2 or Gen 1 version is the regeneration and the braking, the potential of four-wheel drive for next year as well, and just how complex these cars are now in terms of software. The software's always evolving, it's always updating from race to race.
So to dive into some of those features a bit more, you were talking about the regen, and am I right in thinking that you have a motor in the front and a motor in the rear,
Yes.
but the front is only contributing to the regen?
Exactly, yeah. So there's no actual motor to accelerate the car forward in terms of power. It's all just done through the regeneration. We don't actually really use the brakes at all during a race. It's something which is all done through the regeneration of the motor, which is what slows the cars down. It shows how powerful the regeneration is on these cars and how much we rely on the software to be correct. Because if the software is incorrect, then ultimately you're losing half of the performance of a race car.
And you're pretty active during the race. I've seen some videos of you, how many dials and switches you're changing.
Exactly, yeah. It's always moving, you're always dialing bits throughout FP1, FP2. Qualifying, you probably only adjust it 2 or 3 times a lap, whereas in the racing it's a lot more complex.
Apart from conserving your energy during the race, which I know you're doing loads behind the wheel, lift off, and you're not always flat out, which is different for me to get my head around, because when I'm racing electric, we don't think about that at all. Our race lengths are calculated, so we can always be flat out. But part of your strategy is also managing the cooling system. How does that work as a team?
If you get too hot, you then start to lose power, and you can lose up to anything between like 15, 20 kph down the straight. It was sort of up to us to really try and manage that. There's certain things you can do. So one of the things would be to actually use the hydraulics during the race, because if we don't use the brakes, you're using just purely the regeneration. That obviously creates a lot of temperature through that area and then into the battery.
I think the last thing that stands out to me about the Gen 3 car is that you actually have the same tyre for the wet and the dry.
With it being sort of like a road spec tyre, it's so stiff and so robust that a new one is actually not that great to have. On days like London, Monaco, where it's not going to be that hot, trying to get it in the perfect temperature window is a challenge. Somewhere like Brazil or this weekend shouldn't really be an issue because it's warm enough.
I'm actually going to get a go, not in your car, you'll be glad to hear.
It's going to be a cool experience. I think you'll have a lot of fun. Go out and enjoy it.
Wow, that was so quick. The acceleration is unbelievable on the start straight here. I was super nervous not to bin it, but that was unbelievable. It's actually so nice to drive in the corners as well. It's so smooth on the throttle. The brakes were quite difficult with the regen. That was quite a challenge. I felt like you got a lot of help from the motor braking there, but yeah, what an experience, so cool.